We got NIL expert Pete Nakos here, and he's written some interesting stories that I want to talk about in this segment. So, Pete, official visit season is here, and you wrote an article last week about some of the more unusual, or just in this NIL era, I guess it's not unusual, but some of the asks from recruits to programs, and what are some of the unusual things you're hearing this offseason?
Yeah, touched some general managers and NIL collectives last week, and in this crazy NIL landscape that we live in now, guys are asking for cars. They're asking for real estate. They're asking for, straight up like property to own that could appreciate in value. No longer is it just give me the biggest, duffel bag of cash, however you want to, whatever cliche you want to run with. Now it's what other perks do I get? I mean, I talked to a couple schools who said that players are now just asking for like car lease payments when they go on OVs. That's become a popular thing. And then, the other big thing that's being talked about too, beyond the initial payments is, so what are you going to do for my family? How are you going to get my family to campus every week? How are you flying them across the country? And, some schools are kind of just drawing that line now of like, we're not going to do that. Others are basically lining up private charter for, an entire season, which is things that don't happen at the professional level that could only happen at the high school level in college
when there's
football,
no rules.
When there are no rules.
Yeah. So, that's interesting. So, in past years, on a Sunday, you take an official visit Friday, Saturday, Sunday before noon.
Sure.
You meet with the head coach. You sit down as a family. You talk about the depth chart. You talk about your ability to get in and play. I mean, I'm talking about 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
You talk about these things. So now we're talking real estate. We're talking private jets in this Sunday meeting.
Yeah.
Is that when it comes up? Seriously. I mean, seriously.
And I'm not saying,
when do these talks come up?
It happens when the family is sitting down with the coach. And I'll be honest, some families don't want their son there. They would prefer to just have a talk with the head coach,
like
parent
a
to parent,
yeah.
or the agents on the visit too, which makes it extremely obvious that NIL is going to be a factor. And, it's a case-by-case basis, and only so many programs are going to, offer this perk or that perk. So by no means is every recruit expecting the red carpet.
But you might as well ask for it.
But you might as well ask for it. And let me tell you, if that school or whatever wants to go that far and throw that out there, man, does that give them a competitive advantage in getting that commitment?
Yeah, and, hey, it's the wild, wild west right now. So you can do what you want. You don't have to do these things. But if you're a recruit, you might as well ask for them. Okay. Speaking of recruits, you wrote a story also last week about commitment payments, meaning when a program gets a top recruit committed, there's now sort of a normal process taking place where guys are getting monthly payments to remain committed. What are you hearing? First of all, if we got, the top 300, let's talk about how many prospects in the top 300 can expect to be paid after they commit?
From talking to sources, and I wrote this last week, they, some general managers think that number is between like 50 and 100 of the top recruits.
That's reasonable.
So, you think about it, it's every 5-star almost.
Yep. If there's 32 5-stars, you're talking about the top.
And then the top 5 at every position, give or take.
Right.
Obviously, quarterback and edge rusher, those are highly valued, so it might go further down the list. But and these payments range all over the board, right? So for like a really elite recruit, you might be looking at $20,000 to $25,000 a month. For another, it's $5,000 a month. For another, it's just $10,000 upfront at the commitment. It really varies. But, we're talking about some pretty serious cash here if we're talking about a May or June commitment holding all the way to December,
right?
And earning $20,000 to $25,000.
So are these payments helping calm the, all the flips that we see?
I would like to say yes, but I don't think that I can give you an answer just yet. I think we're really not going to get a better picture of that till November, December, when more money gets thrown around. And so the other important thing here too is there are ramifications. I know, Kirby Smart kind of teased it at SEC spring meetings, but it has become a very popular tactic to put in these, in these contracts that schools want the money back if the recruit decides to flip their commitment. And so it could be $200,000 that a school has paid an athlete, and then they flip, and then the NIL collective, the school isn't just going to say, okay, like have fun with the $200K. They're going to, it's in the contract. Give us our $200,000 back, or you're going back to going to court.
Could we see buyouts? Meaning, like, let's just say a 3-month recruitment. You know, I don't want to even use team names, but there's 2 SEC powerhouses battling each other. A recruit has been committed for 3 months. He's earned $60,000 in those 3 months for remaining committed, but he wants to flip his commitment. Could he go to that school and say, hey, if you repay the $60,000 that I owe school A, I'll flip to you?
I mean, it's already happened in the transfer portal. So, yeah, I'm sure it's only a matter of time until it hits recruiting.
Man, that's crazy. All right, speaking of crazy, let's talk some USC recruiting because they're doing something differently. Last year at this time, Justice Terry had already flipped. Isaiah Gibson had already flipped. You could just get a sense. Juju Lewis had not flipped yet, but the class was falling apart around him. Fast forward to 1 year later, USC has the number 1 class in America. They were number 1. They got knocked down. They came back up. They currently have the number 1 class after landing 5-star Mark Bowman. It just feels different. It feels like USC not falling apart this year, only adding to their already number 1 class. And you had a chance to talk to Lincoln Riley a little bit last week. What did he think has changed?
Yeah, you know, Lincoln was pretty introspective on it all. And he was also pretty, you know, upfront too about how he thought that the amount of progress that has been made. And it's obviously translated into recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
The NIL budget is, you know, eons and eons better than where it was when he started. And, you know, the other thing that sticks out too when we have to talk about USC and NIL and recruiting, similar to some other programs, they've done a really good job of making sure to, you know, cash front these deals before this house settlement kicks in and deals have to go in front of, you know, this NIL clearinghouse that's supposed to be set up. And we'll see how that all goes. But USC's definitely made it very clear to recruits that, you know, you go to LA, you're going to have a chance to compete for national titles, and you're going to be paid at some of the highest levels in college football. And, I mean, Lincoln even said it, and it was in the story, there's no more hollow promises at USC. Right. We're not doing that year anymore. So they are definitely trying to send a message that, you know, we're back. We are a better version of ourselves than we were in these last 3 years, and we have the dollars now to compete with everyone.
Okay. Now, winning on the field will go a long way to kind of help them maintain that status. But, hey, it's an interesting story, interesting week, interesting weekend coming with official visits. So there's going to be more commitments, more news. Pete Nakos, thanks for dropping by the Inside Scoop.
You bet. Thanks so much, Josh.